Good morning. Today I want us to talk about Environment and Safety Management Institute. The Environment and Safety Management Institute is a professional body that is established to train people on health, safety and environment, on environmental impact assessment, and also to certify people with designated letters to their name. Now what it means is that the Environment and Safety Management Institute conducts a professional examination that has been approved by the Federal Ministry of Education. Now this examination takes place 3 times in a year. You can write it in March, you can write it in July, or you can write it in October. Once you write the exam and pass, you will be certified on health, safety and environment. The examination comes with designated letters to your name. That is, you will have a certificate that shows that you are a professional in health, safety and environment, and you also have a professional license that gives you designated letters to your name. These designated letters include 1. Associate Environment and Safety Manager, Junior Environment and Safety Manager, Certified Environment and Safety Manager. What it means is that whenever you write your name as a professional in the field of environment and safety management, you are going to put these letters to your name, such that if you can see when the president writes his name, he puts GCFR there. When you write your name as a professional in safety, you're going to put your designation there, like JESP, AESM or CESM, depending on the type of designation that you had. The Environment and Safety Management Institute also publishes the International Journal of Environment and Safety Management. This is a journal that has readership in America, in Europe and in Africa, and also part of Asia. The journal accumulates articles that have to do with health, safety and environmental management. These articles are published and are read at a global scale. So when you send your articles to the International Journal of Environment and Safety Management, your articles are going to be read internationally and you will have recognition. People will pick your work and also give you scholarship, or they can also pick your work and work on it and then give you latent, as the case may be. The Environment and Safety Management Institute also does the International Conference on Environment and Safety. This conference started in the year 2017 and it was held in Nigeria. The one for 2018 in Nigeria, and that is how the conference brings people of different fields who are interested in working on health, safety and environmental management to ensure that ideas are discussed and solutions are proffered. The Environment and Safety Management Institute is the best professional organization presently in Nigeria that can certify you, and your certification is recognized internationally. If you write the Environment and Safety Management HSC examination, you can verify this examination online anywhere you are in the world. And once you are issued a certificate from the Environment and Safety Management Institute, you can visit www.esmi.org.ng and verify the authenticity of your certificate online. These certificates are recognized and accepted in industries within and outside Nigeria. Now somebody will say, why should I do a certification with environment and safety management? It is because it is one of the best that you can get in the country. Who are those people that should do this health, safety and environment certification? The health, safety and environment certification is meant for everybody, because each and every organization you find yourself in, that organization has personnel, it has equipment that needs to be safeguarded. So the Environment and Safety Management Institute training on health, safety and environment is very, very important, and irrespective of your field, you can do this training. And once you have this type of training, it's going to give you easy access to jobs to work in oil companies, breweries, food and beverage companies, in the military, in the paramilitary, United Nations organizations such as UNICEF, UNEP, also international NGOs, Ministry of Environment, Fire Service, Road Safety, the Aviation Ministry, the Ministry of Transport, Telecommunications and so on. So there are a lot of benefits when you do this health, safety and environment program. And it's also a profession that will ensure that whatsoever thing you do, you will really be appreciated. Thank you. If you want to register for this program, visit www.esmi.org.ng or call any of the numbers you see on our flyers around you. Once again, thank you very much. We are expecting you in our
Oh, good day, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome once again back to Environment and Safety Volunteer Online Training. It's been a wonderful time together since when we got started with this class. And for those who have been following keenly, you know this is the third time we'll be meeting online, and it's been a wonderful time altogether. The first time we met, we had the Module 1 of this training. The second time we met, we had Module 2, Module 3, and now we are meeting for the third time, whereby we're beginning with Module 4 of the program. My name is Abraham Oni. I'm the ESMI Media Analyst and also double up as the coordinator for the Northwest Nigeria region for training and other official assignments as benefited by the Institute. Let me quickly give us an head up as regards what today's training is going to be all about, and also the conclusion of the entire training. You know, they said nothing lasts forever, right? So definitely everything that has a beginning must definitely have an end. This training will be rounding up by God's grace tomorrow. Tomorrow. So basically today we have a very vital topic we'll be looking at, which is first aid. So as a well-trained personnel in safety, first aid is a very key component in safety that we must incline ourselves with, so that we could be part of the effort in saving life. It's all about safety of individuals, safety of the environment, safety of workplace, etc. And then tomorrow, by God's grace, we'll be doing something quite unusual. Okay? Apart from the fact that we'll be concluding our training tomorrow, in addition to that, there will be a time, or tomorrow will be a better time to answer some of our questions. I've seen a whole lot of us, after each training, I take time to go through the comment. We had so much comment, it takes a lot of time, so painful sometimes. Like yesterday class, I have to read through almost 600 comments. You know what I mean? So, and I discovered that in the comment, a whole lot of us were making comment while some were asking questions. So I felt it's so important that those questions be answered. So tomorrow, in addition to whatsoever thing we'll be doing tomorrow to conclude the class, which I strongly believe one of the key things that will be happening tomorrow is more of practical, because there are some part of the training we need to demonstrate a little thing. So tomorrow will be very, very explicit. Then I'll be answering your question tomorrow for those who have been asking questions. So I will pick the important, and sorry if your question is not picked, doesn't mean it's not important, but just that we might not be able to attend to all questions. And for those who have questions and you've not asked, maybe you can drop your question today. And also you can drop your question on your platforms, on the WhatsApp platform you all belong to. You can even drop voice note. That would be more interactive actually. You can drop your voice note as questions on your various WhatsApp platforms. I strongly believe that I'm going to get a wind of some of those questions, and in the course of the program tomorrow I'm going to play it. You hear your audio, you hear your voice, so that I can answer your question. Do you see that? Okay. Then tomorrow being the last day, if we do not do this, then we are not being sensitive to the timing and season in which we are. Also tomorrow we'll be talking a bit around the current ongoing pandemic situation. You know what I'm talking about, the COVID-19 coronavirus. We're talking about safety here. So we are ambassadors. Okay, we are people, we are safety ambassadors. We are people who are supposed to have first-hand information as regards the safety of life, the safety of property, and safety of the environment. Do you see that? So in fact, tomorrow I'm going to teach you a few things, and maybe I should not let the cat out of the bag. Let's wait till tomorrow. And that's why I want you to invite as many of your friends, share this video, let it go far and wide, so that more people can be impacted. And don't forget, the Institute have promised to issue certificate for as many of you who have been consistent with this training. So don't retire. This is not yet time to give up. You only have just one more laps left after today. So please make sure tomorrow you do everything possible, to be available tomorrow. And I tell you, tomorrow class is going to be a top notch. It's going to be very explicit. It's going to be very, very interesting. I can tell you that from the whole of my heart. From the whole of my heart. Okay, having said that, I want to welcome you to today's class, which is on first aid. So, have a wonderful section. Thank you. Yeah, you're all welcome once again. I feel that before we get started properly, some of us might be joining for the first time today. So like our habit is, it's our custom to quickly do a sharp recap, a quick one, on what we did in the previous class. So what I'm going to do is, instead of me going through the manual, because I want to beat time today, right? Instead of me going through the manual, that's going to take time. So I'm just going to use one or two videos, do you get it, to explain to you what we learned yesterday. Yesterday we covered two modules. Module 3, we were talking at Module 3, we talked about good housekeeping. Good housekeeping. And with people from the comments say, well, they never saw good housekeeping in the light of safety. Yeah, it is. It is. So some of you are going to learn what is good housekeeping in a summary kind of a video I'm going to play in 3 minutes. And then we entered Module 3. We entered Module 3 yesterday, and the Module 3 was on fire safety for some of us who are around. So in the fire safety, we learn what is fire, the three triangle of fire. For fire to ensue, there must be a good proportion of those three elements, which are oxygen, right? Okay, heat and fuel. So we looked at a lot of things. That fuel can be categorized into liquid fuel, solid fuel, and gaseous fuel. Most time people used to think fuel is all about petrol, kerosene, isn't it? So we also looked at how to quench fire. So to quenching of fire also is like the same fire triangle. Fire triangle, you have fire, you have fuel, you have heat. The same way to quench fire, it's also a triangle. We have starvation, you have smoldering, and you have starving, smoldering, and cooling. You see that? So what it means is that once you can dislodge one of the triangle that causes fire, then automatically you quench the fire. Because by starvation means simply withdrawing fuel from the fire triangle. There will be no fire when there is no fuel. There's nothing that's going to aid the combustion. If it is smoldering, that's covering the face of the fire to take out oxygen. You see, you are dislodging the oxygen part of the triangle. And for cooling, that's you are dislodging the heat part of the fire, because cooling reduces the level of temperature and heat. So once you're able to dislodge any of the three triangles in fire, fire will not ensue. So we learn about how to do fire plan. Doing a fire plan means how you are going to carry a kind of a check around your house, your work site, to eliminate fire hazards. Do you understand? I don't need to go into the details. So when you are doing that, you put it in mind that, okay, how do I make my office, my house in such a way that that triangle will not be complete? Let it not be that there will be a situation that will now make oxygen, fuel, and heat to be in the right proportion that can start a fire. You will never allow such situation. So that's what your fire plan is going to do for you. Then we also learn on how to use the fire extinguisher, which we did a little demonstration. And I was with one in the classroom yesterday. Okay, so for those who are joining today for the very first time, I think this will help a bit. But to help further, before I enter today's class, it's just 2 videos or 3 thereabout I'm going to play now, which is going to help you to have a good understanding of the class. Are you ready for that? If you are ready, say yes. Okay, so here we go.
Good housekeeping plays an important role in maintaining safe and proper work condition. On the other hand, untidy and unclean areas are the place of many accidents. Keep workplaces clean and tidy. Ladders, stairs, doors, floors, stores. Emergency exits are to have no obstruction or any slippery items. All tools and tackles shall be kept at their designated places duly marked.
Operation of fire extinguisher. There are three main reasons for the fire, like fuel, oxygen, and source of ignition. By removing any one from the fuel and oxygen, we can stop fire. Fire is categorized in 4 parts: Class A, Class B, Class C and Class D. Class A, solid fire, that is, fire due to woods, clothes, rubber and paper. Class B, fire due to flammable liquid. Class C, fire due to flammable gas like fire due to LPG. Class D, metal fire. Shut down the power when there is fire due to electricity. Then find out the category of fire A, B, C or D and extinguish accordingly. Method to operate fire cylinder. Read the labels and learn how to operate fire extinguisher. Pull the safety pin of the cylinder. Face the head of the hose of the cylinder towards the base of the flame. Press the hand lever. Keep on moving the hose left and the right on the surface of the fire until fire is extinguished. Call emergency immediately if fire is beyond your control. Special precaution to be kept during firefighting. Don't use water for extinguishing fire on electrical equipment. It may give electric shock. While using carbon dioxide cylinders, cylinder and hose become very cold, which may cause cold burn. Therefore, use it without touching metallic parts with hands. Hold hose also at the right places. Don't obstruct access to fire extinguishers. If you don't know firefighting, seek help immediately.
Yeah, welcome back. Like I told you, today's class is going to be about first aid, and basically the first aid class is a very interesting one. Why is it so interesting? It's because it's all about saving life. There's nobody that will not agree with me that one of the best things you can do to humanity is to help preserve life, to preserve nature, to preserve the environment. Do you see that? So, I want to believe a whole lot of us have already downloaded the manual, and outside that, I also want us to possibly have a little, let me say, common sense talk before we enter usage of the manual. First aid. Like a layman, that's the word. Let's discuss as a layman. Why first aid? What is first aid all about? What's the importance? What does it mean to carry out a first aid duty? You see, whether we like it or not, people are going to need a first aid help at one point or the other, as long as the heart remains. Because a whole lot of human activities, due to the advancement in technology, come with its own tools. Are you with me? You can imagine the advent of either a bicycle or motorcycle, a car or a plane, what have you, is to enhance transportation. So it's meant to be a blessing, but it also comes with its own cost. Just as an example, a young man riding the maybe motorcycle, for instance, then got engaged in an accident. He needs help. You see, the timely help, that first help, he receives is called first aid. That's why they use the word first. Because an hospital is not found everywhere. Hospitals are located in different geographical areas or locations, and you can never tell where the accident happened, what will be the proximity to that hospital. So there's a need for a whole lot of first aiders, so that when accident happen, when occasion arises that the victim need a first aid attention, he or she will get. And that is what I want to believe ESV, that is Environment and Safety Volunteers, that you are or about to become, would also become a first aider, or will have knowledge of the first thing to carry out when you meet an individual who required medical what? Attention, based on the situation of that incident. Or what do you say about an individual who is eating and got choked up? Or is it a crime to eat? Of course not. Is there anybody in the house today who's not eating today? Can you type there and say, I'm not eating today? Maybe we only see 2 or 3 individuals out of so many. Meaning that food is so important. But it also comes with its own challenges. There are people who in the process of eating get choked up. The food blocks the windpipe. They cannot breathe anymore. Okay, can you imagine if there is no first aider close by that is trained and knows what to do? That individual might not make it to the hospital. You see, there are a lot of people who have died, who are casualty of various either industrial accident or domestic accident, who are not supposed to be dead, but because there was no first aid treatment, no first aid aider around to attend to such individual. And we lost so many precious lives simply because people like you and me did not respond timely on time to become a first aider. But I'm glad you are now. And that's why this topic of first aid is very, very crucial and important. Okay, having said that, can we check through our manual and see what we have there? So here we have lesson 4, module 4. I told you we are on module 4. So first aid. So let's define what first aid is. First aid is the immediate and temporary treatment, right, given to the person who suffers what? An accident or any sudden illness before the medical help is made available. You see that? Please note here, as a first aider, you are not a medical doctor. Note this. In fact, if you arrive at an accident scene as a first aider and you are about to carry out first aider responsibilities, as you will be learning in this class, and a licensed medical doctor approach the scene, your work stops at that point. Please note that. It is an immediate help given to an injured or sick person using the available materials at that time before the casualty or victim is taken to the hospital. It can also be defined as immediate or temporal care given to an injured or sick person. Do you see that too? Okay. Now, another thing we need to look at is okay, let me read through. So therefore, first aid is a provision of limited care. That word limited, because it's just a temporal thing. The full care will be given at the hospital. So therefore, first aid is the provision of limited care for an illness or injury which is provided usually by a lay person to a sick or injured patient until definitive medical treatment can be assessed. So, what are the aims of first aid? What are the aims of first aid? It's important to look at the aims of first aid. Number one is life preservation. As a first aider, your primary assignment is to save life. I told you earlier on, there is nothing beautiful as saving of life, preserving life. Number two, as a first aider, you're to prevent further injury. You see, I've seen a lot of people, though out of concern, during accident, you see the way they handle the victim, they even complicated the issue simply because of lack of knowledge as to what is supposed to be done. Number three, as a first aider, the third aim is to promote recovery. So for you to be easy for you to remember the aim of first aid, so we gave it I mean, what do you call it now? I won't say acronym. We gave it is it a slang now? We call it the 3 P's. So somebody asked what are the 3 P's of first aid. It's asking about preservation of life, prevent further injury, and promote recovery. Okay, so in addition, some trainers may also advocate a 4th P. You see that? Which means protect yourself. I think this is also very, very important. So depends on who is handling the training. So sometimes you hear somebody say 4 P's, no need for argument. What the person is making reference to is protect yourself. Don't say because you want to carry out first aid and then you become a casualty of that circumstance. That would be too dreadful. That would be too terrible. That would be too terrible. I'll give you an example. Imagine a situation where you are trying to attend to someone who is involved in a fatal accident. Unknown to you, the person is HIV positive, and you were being careless. You didn't use necessary PPE like hand glove. You see that? And somehow the blood of the injured individual mixes with a little cut that you have maybe under your nails or somewhere very minute that you never ever know. And just in the process of helping to save life, you cut short your own life. That will be very devastating. So protect yourself. So the main aim of all this is to be adequately covered by preventing further injuries. However, effective life-saving first aid needs hands-on training by experts. And that's what we are here for, especially where it relates to potentially fatal illnesses and injury. So you are about to be trained as a first aider. So who is a first aider? Who is a first aider? A first aider is anybody, any person who administers an injured person before taken to the hospital. The first person that attends to an injured person before being taken to hospital is a first aider, but professionally a trained individual, and that's what you want to become. Because naturally we have people who, out of compassion, sympathy and empathy, will always respond to people who are in need of help. They are carrying out the work of first aider, but they are not trained, so we can't call them first aider. As a first aider, you need to be properly trained, and that's part of what we are here for. So a first aider can also be defined as any person who give the immediate and temporary treatment given to the person who suffer an accident or any sudden illness before the medical help or aid is made available. So if you agree with me that being a first aider is a very, very good thing to do, write in the comment, I would love to be a first aider. If you agree with me, preservation of life, preventing further injury is very, very critical. It's something you will love to do. Then type in the comment section, I love to be a first aider. Never said I didn't tell you. There's a reason for that. Okay. So let's quickly look at qualities of a first aider. What are the qualities? Now that you have said you would love to be a first aider, let's look at the qualities that a first aider must possess. So that if you do not have such qualities, there is no point you disturbing yourself except you are willing to change. Number one is a first aider, he or she must be kind. It takes kindness to save life. Number two, he or she must have the knowledge, and that is what you are getting on this platform. Or let me say that's what you have started getting, and you definitely, get that to the fullest. Number three, he or she must be smart. This word of smart, people do misunderstand smartness to be being cunning. No. When you are being cunning is more from a selfish perspective. But being smart is just you knowing what to do, doing what to do at the right time. Okay? Good. Number four, he or she, remember we're looking at qualities of a first aider, he or she must be loyal. Yes, must be loyal. It takes loyalty to save life. Must be loyal to the core as a first aider. Being loyal will make you to stand up and get the work done even when it's not convenient, even when you don't feel like. You can remember medical doctor used to sign a particular, what do you call it now? This, oh my God, the name just, whereby they are making an oath to always respond, whether convenient or not convenient, to any emergency when the need arises. Something Hippocratic, I can't remember now. So, now, he or she must be honest. Yes, one of the great qualities of a first aider is honesty. You can imagine an accident that happened and somebody will call himself or herself a first aider, and the first thing he first savage was the money in the pocket of the victims, or the bag or briefcase of the victim that contains some hard currency. No, you are not fit to be a first aider. So it takes honest people to be a first aider. People that even after the incidents and life and be restored, they will still hands back to the victim their items, their possessions. Okay, he or she must be firm. Yes, it takes firmness to be a first aider. Not somebody that can easily be persuaded, not somebody that can easily be controlled. If not, when you are beginning to administer treatment and the victim is persuading you to do otherwise, if you are not a firm person, you will do that, and that might be to the detriment of the victim. I'll give you an example. You can imagine in a situation, are you with me, whereby a victim is bleeding profusely and is asking you to give him water. It will bleed more. Definitely it will bleed more. So what you're supposed to do is to follow the ethics of the training you have received. You see that? Not someone that can easily be persuaded to do otherwise, contrary to the ethics of the profession. Number 7, he or she must be able to walk on the 3 P's. Can you still remember the 3 P's? If you can type it in the comment section, the 3 P's. And if you do not remember, you can maybe check the manual later. I'm not going to tell you. So whoever that write the first 3 P's as a gift, I'm going to send you a recharge card. I'm going to read through the comment later. So whoever that drops first comment on the 3 P's has my recharge card. Don't ask me how much. No matter the amount, gift is gift. Is that okay? Good. So the last one here, he or she must be sympathetic. He or she must be sympathetic. He or she must be sympathetic. Okay. So please note, first aider is never a doctor. I think I said it earlier on. And must not assume that role. A first aider duty ends as soon as the doctor takes charge, although he may have to remain to take orders if necessary. That's a clause, if necessary. So let's look at first aid procedure. First aid procedure. What do we mean by procedure? Way of doing things. Imagine you arrive at an accident scene. You arrive at a scene whereby there's somebody who needs a first aid treatment. So what are the procedures? Number one, you assess the situation. Come on. Very, very important. Do not be irrational. Don't be too rash. You just rush into the whole thing. When you do that, you can become a victim as well. Okay, you can imagine in a situation whereby there was an electrical, maybe somebody suffering from electrical shock, fell down, and you didn't take time to assess the scene. The same naked wire that struck that individual down, you might be a victim of that same circumstance. But when proper assessment of the situation is carried out, you'll be able to eliminate all form of hazards that is within that environment. Then with good assessment of the situation, you also know how well to protect yourself. Is that okay? So after doing assessment, the next thing is to diagnose. So diagnosis. So by diagnosis, we're talking about you trying to know what happened, the causative factor, what led to this circumstance, or what could be wrong, or what had gone wrong. So it's the end result of diagnosis that are going to help you to know the form kind of treatment to commence. And that's why the third procedure there is treatment. Now that you've known the cause, what really happened, what went wrong, then with the training you have received, then you can administer what? Treatment. And the last there is disposal. By disposal, it's not disposal like you dispose waste, no. It just simply means handing over of this individual or the victim or the casualty to the medical thing. Okay, good. Now, let's see the priorities of first aid. First, find out, okay, let me say this. By priorities, you know that what priority means, what to consider first, isn't it? What to think above other possible outcomes. So first, find out if breathing has stopped. So the very first thing that is your priority as a first aider is to know the person you want to attend to, if he's breathing or not. You see that? So ensure an open or clear the airway passage and start artificial respiration. Now this is only necessary, which we call kiss of life. I will explain that to you. This is only necessary if you discover that the individual seems not to be breathing, because CPR or kiss of life is about bringing back to life someone who seems to be half dead, if I can use that word. No, sometimes we have clinical deaths, right? And sometimes we have, when sometimes you think people are dead, they are not really dead. It's only when a doctor has confirmed someone dead that we can really say the person is what? Is dead. So, when you get to a scene, you discover maybe the person still has some pulse, but seems not to be breathing. If you can be quick enough, you can resuscitate that individual. And what you need to do to resuscitate that individual is what we call artificial respiration. Some people call it kiss of life. Okay. For some of us who doesn't know what artificial respiration, I have a video I'm going to use to explain that. But how many of you have watched movies or you've seen people whereby they will open some people's a victim mouth and breathe into the person's mouth and do some compression on, place hands on the chest of that individual and do some kind of compression. Maybe I observe that. Okay, so that's CPR. Don't worry, we'll talk more about it, and there's a video that's going to demonstrate. I think it's more of demonstration. It needs more to be demonstrated than talking. So secondly, if bleeding, stop or arrest it. You know, the very first thing, we're talking about priorities. First thing is to check for bleeding. Number two is to check for bleeding. So if the person is bleeding, then you now have to use your expertise, what you have learned, to stop or arrest the bleeding. You know why? Because blood is life. Blood is life. If the person loses too much blood, then there's nothing you can do to save the individual, even if he's breathing at the moment. If he loses too much of blood, he's a dead man. So the blood is said to be life, and it is a vehicle through which oxygen and food nutrients are transported to the various parts of the body for survival. Thirdly, we're talking about priorities, right? The first one is check if he's still breathing. Number two, check if the person is bleeding so that you can stop and arrest it. Number three is to guard against shock by keeping the person warm, if cold, to maintain normal body temperature that can result in shock or death. Now, we all know that, how do I put this? Who can tell me the degree Celsius for the body temperature? I know some of you say 37, right? But you know that's a room temperature. Now, if I'm wrong, you can correct me. Okay? So, but the truth is, you need to keep the body against shock. How many of you have noticed that when somebody is dying, the body will be getting cold? Have you observed that? Or maybe you watch movie, you say, yeah, he's getting cold, his body is getting cold. So as a first aider, when that comes in, you have to make effort, are you with me, to make sure that this individual gets warm. In other words, you're trying to help the individual to maintain the normal body temperature. Okay, let's talk about other things. Remember, I'm talking about priorities, right? We mentioned three. First one, check if it's breathing. If it's not breathing, you carry out kiss of life. That's artificial respiration, or we call it CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Now, number two, check bleeding so that you can arrest. Number three, guard against shock by keeping the person warm. Then number four, immobilize fracture. Let's say it's an incident whereby the person had some fracture in some part of the body, either the hand, the femur, the leg, whatever it is. You have to immobilize fracture. By immobilization means you have to, during practical we'll show you some of those bandages. You know, we have a lot of bandages we use for different situations. Now there will be a lot of practical tomorrow, trust me. I'm not going to be doing that alone because that kind of a practical requires 1 or 2 hands. So don't worry, I'm already arranging for that. I hope all my plan falls through. It will be so graphical tomorrow. Okay, so immobilize fractures. So using some of that crepe bandage, depending on where the area of fracture is, so that the place that have been fractured is held in place. Because if it's moving, it will become worse. Let's say the degree of fracture was 50% before. If it's not immobilized, it can get to 70, 80, or total complete detachment. So number 5, reassure the casualty and ensure fresh air. By reassuring the casualty is give the casualty hope, make the casualty to feel alive, and ensure he or she gets fresh air. Number 6, do not remove clothing unnecessarily. Come on, stop it. Many of the casualties cannot withstand public uncovering. So if it is not that necessary, don't do it. But if it is necessary at the expense of that individual life, I don't think anybody at that level will even mind whether I'm naked or I'm covered. Do you get what I'm talking about? So, but do not remove clothing unnecessarily. Okay, number 7, do only essential things and don't attempt too much. Yes, as a first aider, you have a limit. So you must understand that thin line. And when you are crossing that border, you need to stop. Remember we told you, you are not a medical doctor. And finally, arrange for careful conveyance to the hospital. That's beautiful. Okay. So, let's look at situations that a first aider may be confronted with, so that you can prepare yourself. Situation that a first aider may be confronted with. Number 1 is severe bleeding. I think I had a serious issue with this. While I was growing up, I don't like the sight of blood. Do you have anybody that's like me here? I don't like the sight of blood at all. I get irritated, you know. So, as a first aider, you are going to be confronted with situations like this, severe bleeding. So you have to be prepared. You have to review up. Okay, number 2, you might be faced with situations like unconsciousness, when the victim is unconscious. Other situation you can be faced with on the field as a first aider is convulsion. You can see a victim that convulses, so you should be able to know what to do. Another one is epileptic fit. Then also choking. It's a first aider. You see a situation where somebody is getting, you know. Okay, let me just be adding 1 or 2 things. Like in case of severe bleeding, is that okay? You need to exert pressure. When you exert pressure, you know, it aids in abating bleeding or complete stopping of bleeding. For unconsciousness, one of the things you need to do is CPR. You know, in terms of choking, you know, like I told you earlier, when somebody is eating, food can mistakenly go the wrong way and somehow block the windpipe, so the person finds it difficult to breathe. And you know how important breathing is to life. If you refuse to, if your breathing is blocked, then the chances of you dying is very high. So when some people do not get help, they die. So that's why some of you seen some videos that went viral of a man that was eating in a restaurant and something like this choking happened. When you see another man went behind him, held him with his hand from behind and was exerting pressure on his stomach and was even jacking the individual. I see some people beating somebody, giving them a blow at the back. It's just able to push out whatever food that has blocked, you know, the windpipe. Then drowning, yes, a situation whereby somebody who went to swim or whatever situation that caused the drowning. You know, it's also part of the intervention that some of the situation you will face as a first aider. In case of drowning, all you need to do is to press the stomach so that you can get rid of the water that is blocking the lungs and the passageway where air is supposed to go in for breathing. Then in terms of shock, right, you know, this shock is different from electric shock. Somebody can go into shock. Let's say you lose so much blood, you can go into shock. So you need to be revived. You know, sometimes you see in the hospital, what's the name of this machine? What was it? Sorry if you can remember the machine. Those 2 iron, whereby you put some voltage and put it on the individual's chest, so that they can deliver some voltage, some shock into the individual if it can be revived. You know. So, then in terms of electric shock, one of the key things, these are some of the things you will face, the situations you will face as first aider. So in electric shock, the first thing I used to advise as a first aider is to first deal with the electricity from the source. So find the source and off it. Then sometimes you might be faced with a situation of somebody undergoing food poisoning. Yes, it happens a lot. Food poisoning. And here people have a lot of superstitions. They take oil, do this, do that. We'll be learning a good number of things you can do in such situation. How about in some situation where you have felt somebody who just experienced burns or scarred? Burns can be either via liquid, they are hot substance, semi-liquid, or just direct flame, fire, So how do you respond to such a victim? And then how about situations like fracture? Remember, we're looking at situation you'll be confronted with as a first aider. Situation you'll be confronted with as a first aider. So fracture, definitely, many times. And then multiple cases, as in case of a mortal accident. In case of mortal accident, I can see Sholanke Adeolu Emmanuel is asking, how does a first aider interfere in case of epilepsy? Okay. I would like somebody within the house to respond to that and type. And if peradventure I didn't get a certain response, then I'm going to address that towards the end of the class. Okay, Mario Paul is also asking something similar. Say, how can a first aider help in convulsion? Okay, so let other people in the house answer that question. If you have a good question or a good answer, I'm going to let you know. And if I don't have a satisfactory answer, I am going to respond to that. Is that okay? Very good. So, then the last one, multiple cases. As in case of a motor accident, meaning that there might be fracture, there might be bleeding at the same time, somebody can go into shock, depending on the nature of the accident. Some people can have multiple cases of some of these situations that you may face as the first aider. Okay, so now we are where I told you we are going to arrive at the initial stage, the CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Remember I told you, as a first aider, this is one of the things you need to learn, because sometimes when you arrive at a scene of an accident, you might many times meet someone who is semi-conscious, somebody who is not breathing or is not breathing properly. Okay, so and who has the chances to live. So you need to carry out cardiopulmonary resuscitation called CPR. We call it kiss of life, or artificial resuscitation. So the first step of CPR is to access the victim and check responsiveness. Is that okay? So when you approach the victim, you can tap him, hello, can you hear me? Hello? So if the person responds, either through body gesticulation, you know they're still live. But when the person do not respond, and you felt the pulse, and you see that he still has some pulse, so he has a chance to live. So you can then carry out cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Okay. Number 2, gently shake the victim and shout, are you okay? Hello, are you okay? If the person answers, CPR is not needed. But if the person is unresponsive, or the person is not conscious, and is showing sign of a stroke or heart attack, call emergency line immediately and initiate the ABC of CPR. So we looked at what are the ABC of CPR. Very shortly, we look at the ABC of CPR. So I would say and please, yes, there's something to note here. Look at it. In case of emergency, right? Do not. Do you know what I mean by emergency? You should know when you say an emergency, you need not to be told you know. So do not. So then What I mean is, in case of emergency, right? Do not do what? Do not do the following. Do not leave the victim unattended as a first aider. Are you with me? Do not make the victim drink. You know, I told you about when I was talking about the quality of a first aider. You shouldn't be that person that can easily be persuaded to do otherwise against the ethics of the job. So secondly, I think, let me pause a bit. I got a comment from Uwanchuku Ugochukwu. He said he was trying to answer that question that was asked earlier on, that a first aider can respond to epilepsy by removing anything that can cause injury around the person. And if the person falls on the road, right? If the person falls on the road, the first aider should control traffic to avoid harm on the person. Then put an eye on the person till the person recovers. That's nice. Olasoji Adewale says, for epilepsy, make sure you remove dangerous objects away from the person. Usually the victim will be conscious after some time. Ensure there is enough ventilation. Wow, beautiful. I love guys on this platform. You guys are very versatile and vast. Okay, I think Ralph Pretty Fate is also responding. He said the first aider can help by holding and sitting the casualty down in a straight position. Beautiful, lovely, lovely. So I'll add my thought to all this when the time comes. So don't forget, this is where we are. In case of emergency, do not do the following. Do not leave the victim unattended. Do not make the victim drink water. Do not throw water on the victim's face, like many people will do most times. And do not put victim into a sitting position. There is a position called a recovery position. You will see the video under CPR. Because when you have resuscitated an individual, you put that person into what we call the recovery position. It's somewhere that see the person is lying by the side, on the floor. So please don't put the victim to a sitting position, and don't slap his or her face. You see a lot of videos on Facebook, people will slap you, hey, wake up, wake up. Don't slap his or her face. Okay, so let's look at the ABC of CPR. How do you carry out CPR? The reason for all these acronyms is so that you will not forget. So you will not forget. So CPR, the ABC. A stands for airway, B breath, C circulation, and we'll explain it. Okay, let me take this from Mod Jamil Abdul Karim Babatunde. He said, for epilepsy, stay calm. Losing anything around the person's neck, do not restrain them or put anything in their mouth. Yeah, like some people would do, say put spoon. Okay, that's for conversion anyway. So do not restrain them, okay, or put anything in their mouth. Clear the area around them and stay with them after the seizure stopped. Okay, maybe after this, let me take this one more so that I can continue the class. So that I will not be distracted. Maybe towards the end of the class I can read other comments. Adasin Karim says a first aider can respond to an epileptic patient by keeping the person safe, losing any tight clothing around the neck, do not restrain the patient or put anything in their mouth, clear the area around them and stay with the patient until seizure stop. Okay, thank you, Adasin Karim. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the response. Like I said, I'll have my thought sometime later in the course of the program before we bring into a close. So back to the ABC of CPR. A stands for airway. You have to clear the airway. B stands for what? Breath. Okay. And C stands for what? Circulation. So let's see a airway. Clear the airway. Put the person on his or her back on a firm surface. Kneel next to the person's neck and shoulder. Open the person's airway using the head and tilt the chin, right? You lift the chin, okay? Put your palm on the person's forehead and gently push down. Okay. Then with the other hand, gently lift the chin forward to open. You see, this is theory. Are you with? This is better explained with animation. Is that okay? So number 3, check for normal breathing. Take in no more than 10 seconds. Look for chest motion. Listen for breath sound. Feel for the person's breath on your cheek and here. Do not consider gasping to be normal breathing. Somebody is gasping. Do not consider it to be normal breathing. If the person isn't breathing normally or you aren't sure, begin mouth-to-mouth breathing. So that's where the breathing comes in. The first one is to clear the airway. Put the person in a position whereby he can receive air in through the mouth. So that is where to do the breathing. So B for breathing. Breathe for the person. Now this person cannot breathe for himself. So that's why it's artificial breathing. So you are doing the breathing for the individual. So you rescue. So rescue breathing can be mouth-to-mouth breathing or mouth-to-nose breathing if the mouth is seriously injured or can't be opened. You see that? So the first priority is mouth-to-mouth. It's only if the mouth can be accessed that nose is used. So with the airway open, using the held tilt chin, pin the nostril shut, then for mouth-to-mouth breathing, and cover the person's mouth with yours, making a seal. Now please note, remember we said about you protecting yourself. So there are situations whereby it might not be that healthy for mouth, especially with a stranger, somebody you don't know the health status. So usually as a first aider, there's always a PPE, there's a kit, there's a mouth respirator you go with, so that you don't have direct contact with the person's mouth, you know. So don't worry, I think you'll see that on the video as well. So you need to protect yourself. So but if somebody you know, your sibling, your sister, your auntie, and you trust their health status, that will not be a bad idea. Direct mouth to mouth. Okay, so prepare to give 2 rescue breaths. Give the first rescue breath, lasting 1 second, and watch to see if the chest rises. If it does rise, give the second breath. If the chest doesn't rise, repeat the L-tilt chin lift and then give the second breath. And of course, the C, remember ABC of CPR, the C is circulation. And by circulation we mean restoring blood what? Circulation. So how? You check if the beating heart is now beating. In order to do that, find carotid artery, which is always located in the depression between the windpipe and the neck muscles. So place 2 fingertips on it and apply slight pressure for several seconds. If no circulation is detected, then begin chest compression. And of course, look at how the compression goes. After 30 compression, tilt the head back, lift the chin up to open the airway. Okay, I think I better play the video now. Is that okay? So let's see how this works out. Okay, so
hello. In this health sketch, we want to talk to you about CPR, which stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. We use CPR when someone has collapsed and is not breathing because it can keep people alive until emergency services arrive. Learning these simple life-saving skills is as easy as ABC. All you have to remember is the doctor's ABC. D is for danger. First, look around carefully to make sure the area is safe for yourself and others before approaching. R is for response. Shake them gently by the shoulders and ask them loudly, "Are you all right?" If there is no response, you need to. S. Shout for help, as any assistance will be helpful. A is for airway. Gently tilt the head back like this to open up the airway. B is for breathing. Look, listen, and feel for signs of normal breathing. Look for normal chest movements. Listen for normal breathing sounds. And try to feel their breath against your face. Do this for no more than 10 seconds. If there is no sign of breathing, or if they are breathing in an unusual, noisy way, we need to start CPR. First, make sure that an ambulance is on its way. If you have someone with you, ask them to make the call. Putting the phone on speaker mode is useful as the ambulance service can talk you through the steps. C is for circulation. Circulation means the flow of blood around the body, and when the heart stops pumping, we need to take over this role by pushing down hard and fast on the chest. Start by placing the heel of one hand at the centre of the person's chest and interlock your fingers like this. With arms straightened, press down hard and fast, letting the chest come back up fully each time. Fast means around 2 times every second. And hard means that the chest needs to go down by about 5 centimetres. This might sound a lot, but you do need to push hard for it to be effective. If you have been trained, you can give 2 rescue breaths after every 30 compressions, as this helps provide some oxygen. However, if you have not been trained or are not comfortable, just keep going with hands-only continuous chest compressions. If someone else is with you, swap over if you begin to feel tired, and don't stop until either a health professional takes over or the person is definitely breathing normally. Sometimes we can add another step. D. D is for defibrillation, which is about delivering a shock to restart the heartbeat. Some public areas and workplaces have an easy-to-use defibrillator on site called an automatic external defibrillator, or AED. Automatic means that it is the machine that decides what to do, so you can't go wrong, and it even talks you through the steps. If there is no AED available, keep going with CPR until the ambulance arrives. That's it. So to recap, remember doctor's ABC. And if you have it, D. That's D for danger, R for response, S, shout for help, A for airway, B for breathing, C for circulation, and D for defibrillation. In this health sketch, we've shown you the simple steps you can take to help someone who has collapsed, is not breathing, or not breathing normally. Why not take a training course to practice these steps? Share this video with friends and family to make sure we all know what to do. Health sketch. Health for all to see.
Address a few things before we continue with the class, though we are almost done, though there are a few things to actually learn, but we can't finish everything today. We are rounding up tomorrow. I want to appreciate as many of us who have taken time to drop comment as regards the question that we ask, as regards who has answer to what to do when somebody has convulsion or somebody have epilepsy. And I like the fact that someone, like 2 individuals, asked that question, and that shows they are following. I deliberately jumped back, and for them to notice that means they are keenly following, and I'm so impressed. I must confess, this is the best audience I've had for an online training, who are following keenly, who are making comments, who are asking questions, and who at the same time contributing. I want to give you a round of applause. That was so awesome. Awesome. I took time yesterday to read through your comment. Guess what? I read every comment. That's difficult. Painful. Yeah. Over 600 comments. Okay? So at that time it was 574. But now I know a lot of comments are coming. So, you see, back to that question about epilepsy and convulsion. You see, there's a general name we use for both. It's called seizure. Seizure, right? And we know that whoever that is either convulsing or is under the influence of epilepsy, at that time do not really know what they are doing, so to speak. They are not really in charge. They are under an influence. You know, like as if a part of their nerve system failed. Now, what you need to do in such situation, like some of my colleagues or friends on the platform has said is there's little you can do to help such individuals than clearing the surroundings so that they don't injure themselves. And please don't make effort to pin them down, hold them, tie them down. No, allow them to express that movement. It's very, very important. But guess what? After some time, they will come back to their normal self. So all this idea of putting something in the mouth or this, I don't know if I should make this comment, but remember what happened? I will not mention the state. In the stadium, where they were playing football, and that footballer just went down, died. When I was watching the video, I was laughing. I'm laughing and I felt like crying at the same time. Obviously, it seems that nobody knows what to do. In a big country like Nigeria, we lost that precious life because of absence of people who have technical know-how, who have the right knowledge as to what to do. What I saw on some of the videos that are circulating on social media, I see some of them putting their hand in the guy's mouth, trying to open his mouth, some carrying, I don't know, a hand fan or something. Nobody carried out CPR. Maybe I didn't get to watch the entire full video, but what I've seen, there was no CPR that was carried out. In fact, I'm not sure if there was any first aider around. The ambulance that was supposed to take the guy to the hospital was not starting because of battery. Such a national embarrassment. But I love what already happened after the situation. I want to praise the governor of that state. I don't want to mention the name of the state. Some of us do know the place. Who now had intervened, and now they have very good ambulance system in place. They have very good. The clinic within the stadium has started functioning well. But do we really have to lose life before sometimes we do the right thing? That young man's life could have been saved. So back to the question. So, in case of convulsion, seizure, epilepsy, allow the person, clear the surrounding out for dangerous object that can injure the individual, then do something for monitoring sake. Time, use your timer. Time the period when the seizure, the convulsion, the epilepsy starts, and see when it ends. It's for medical, what do you call it, reporting, and the idea is this. When that person have a series of reports, because sometimes this thing is genetic. Yes, sometimes it's genetic because some people inherit it. So what happens is that you need to monitor to know if it's getting worse or it's getting better, so that you'll be able to know if you have to go for more medical assistance. So that is that. So in case of convulsion, epilepsy, whatever, clear the environment of dangerous object. Make sure the person is not held down. Okay. If the person have anything tightening around the neck, the hand, so losing, maybe he's wearing a tight t-shirt, losing the hands, losing the neck, losing the belt. Do you understand? So there will be easy flow, circulation of blood. So thank you. So let's continue with our class, and I think we're almost rounding off for today. So if you are still with me, this is where we are on our manual. So we are going properly. So we are done with CPR now. So we're going properly into some other aspect of first aid. So let's look at importance of first aid. Importance of first aid. Importance of first aid. Importance of first aid. Number one, it saves life of an individual. So as a first aider,
about 5 centimeters.
You are a lifesaver. As a first aider, you are a lifesaver. Number two, it helps in pain reductions and prevent further injury. It helps in pain reduction and prevent further injury. Number three, first aid helps to avoid further injury and correct situations which tends to increase the original injury. So very quickly, first aid helps to form a basis for subsequent treatment by doctor or the hospital staff, and it also helps in supplying details of accident, injury, and the first aid treatment given, etc., in order to prevent what? In order to prevent disability and death. So so let's look at first aid kits. So what are the, a farmer has its tools, right? He has a hoe, cutlass, a military man has his gun, a lecturer has his marker, pen. So we have what we call first aid kits. So first aid kit is a collection of supplies and equipment for use in giving first aid, particularly in a medical emergency. So as a first aider, so you are going to have so as a first aider, you are going to be having your kits, and your kit is going to help you to stay on top of situations as they arise. So first aid kits is a collection of supplies and equipment for use in giving first aid, particularly in a medical emergency. So the first aid material kits include the following. It's not limited to all this, but include the following: bandage for controlling bleeding, scissors, of course, for cutting, disposable gloves to protect your hands, okay, blade, maybe you need to do some cutting or incision, irrigation syringe, this one is for cleaning wounds, PP is a general name for personal protective equipment, anything that protects you from harms in case of carrying out first aid can be called PP. So thermometer, you need to check temperature, plaster, methylated spirit, hydrogen, small plastic cup, okay, instant acting chemical, where is it? Okay, instant acting chemical cold pack, okay, then blanket, okay, then small plastic cup, I think we've mentioned that, then CPR mask or other breathing barrier. I told you about you doing direct mouth to mouth, and somebody also asked that question. I saw it in the comment section. It's not easy taking the class at the same time reading the comment, but I'm just managing to do that. So somebody also asked something like that, I can't remember the name now, that's how do an individual protect himself from mouth to mouth so that will not be a victim when you want to carry mouth to mouth resuscitation. So I told you can use some breathing barrier or breathing aids, CPR mask or other breathing barrier. So CPR means cardiopulmonary resuscitation. We already talked about that. You need flashlight, torchlight, okay, alcohol, antiseptics, hand wipes, etc. Also, let's look at drugs that can be found in first aid box. Drugs found in first aid box are medication that can be given, to an injured person or person involved in accident before taken to the hospital or before the arrival of doctor. And the medication includes the following: antiseptics or antimicrobial, aspirin, painkiller, okay, anti-itching ointment, so diphenhydramine, so the brand name is Benadryl. Then antibiotics ointment, hydrocortisone cream, okay, calamine solution, ibuprofen, and that's for anti-inflammatory, alcohol pack, poison treatment syrup of ice pack, aloe vera gel, etc. So now let me quickly show you something. There is a box we call the first aid box, which some of us already know. So that sometimes you can. I have a small one here. There's a smaller one I have there. So in case you need to put in what do you call it? Some of your items into the first aid box. So it will not be difficult to do that. So you can see one here. So it's written on it, first aid box, but this is a small one. So maybe some of those bandages, scissors, some of those drugs can be inside. Like I said, mine is a bit small, so it can't contain much things. But I intend to get a bigger one. So just for the purpose of the class, that's what I'm showing you. So I have my hand glove here. So I don't get my hand contaminated. You can see that. So then of course I see bandages. Okay, maybe from the practical tomorrow, I'll have with me here a very respected colleague when it comes to first aid. He's going to help us with the practical. Pray that I will agree to come. Because of COVID-19, everybody's sitting at home. So I pray he responds. He comes. We are going to have a nice time together tomorrow. So we are going to be stopping here, because if I go back to the manual, you can see for yourself. After the drugs, the next thing you see is what? You see, if you want to register and be trained as a certified safety professional with international recognition, call any of this number. Like I told you, ESMI is in all the 36 states. So Habia, Abuja, Adamawa, Sokoto, Zamfara, everywhere, Lagos, Oyo, everywhere. So we have consultants, coordinators everywhere. Though some of these numbers have changed. So if you really want to get necessary information, or you want us to come and conduct training in your area, so it's better you call this central number, this particular number, okay? Or visit the institute website. You see it, www.esmi.org.ng. Of course, you can see the Twitter handle, the institute. So also don't forget, I told you that ESMI do publish an international journal that have readership in all the continents of the world. So several countries are going to have access to read your material. So in case you have a journal you want to publish, you can consult with the institute so that they will help you publish your journal, so that it will gain readership in many countries of the world. So if you need more details about this, I think you should call that same number, the administrative number I just showed you on the screen, and your request will be duly attended to. Okay, and let me also use this opportunity to show us some of the let me see. Okay, this is okay, I think that is all I could take from now. Okay, before we go, I remember some of you, please 1 minute, we are done. I remember some of you reached out to me since the class have started, trying to connect, and I so much appreciate that. So in case I didn't respond to your friend requests, your comments, etc., that's simply because it's not out of trying to ignore you, it's just out of trying to do things the proper way that needed to be done. Is that okay? So I strongly also believe in networking. Sometimes you want to get something done. If you have a rich network of people around you, it's easier. You see, if I want to meet Donald Trump or United States of America, I'm 4% away from Donald Trump. I only needed to know someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows Donald Trump. Do you see that? So that's why it's good to network, it's good to meet people, but not just people who are going your direction, visionary individuals. So I'm so happy, sincerely, you guys are so interactive, and I enjoyed every bit of this class. So that we can connect more beyond this level, let me introduce you a bit to, I don't know if I have the express permission of my boss, the president of ESMI, but permit me to do this. I know he's a man that is given to capacity building. He loves people developing. If not, he will not make provision for this. Do you see that? He will not. He will never have gone through the pain to put this up. Now, ESV training is over by tomorrow, but I want to introduce you to my platform where I run weekly empowerment training, which my boss is aware about, Mr. Martins Losamba, and he used to commend the effort on several occasions. It's a free training, that's the truth. Every week on Tuesday, I've been doing this for the past 3 years, and men has been raised on that platform. I receive mails, I receive SMS of people appreciating some of the impacts that have come to them based, on what we do on that platform. So I call it my own CSR, my own corporate social responsibility to my community, to Nigeria, and to Africa at large. Last 2 weeks, I guided people through the process of filling Tony Elumelu Foundation application online. And I'm sure a good number of them are going to get that seed grant of, I think, $5,000. Yeah, $5,000. That's almost 1.8 million for young, small business and small, medium enterprise. So on that Tuesday training, there are a lot of things. We go from one topic to another. We might spend 3 weeks, 4 weeks on a particular topic before we move ahead to another topic. And these are the kind of things we do there. We learn things like e-commerce. Some of you have been hearing about e-commerce, and you have been longing to have somebody who can guide you and coach you through, right? Okay. Then some of you have heard about digital marketing, isn't it? And some of you say, yeah, somebody is asking me to pay for it online. Oh, I would like to learn digital marketing. Yeah, it's available on that platform as well. Also, study opportunity abroad. For some of you who are degree holders, you want to do your masters, and you want to travel outside your country on scholarship. Yeah, we give guidance, we train on that, how to apply, what to look out for, what you need to put in place. And we have evidence. We have like up to 3, 4, 5 coppers around Sokoto. A good number of them are now in Germany doing their master's program. So with evidence, I show you evidence. They do chat me back. Those times they don't see it as anything, but when it works for them, you see a lot of them coming back to appreciate what has been done. Okay, so other part of the training program are like CV writing for those who are looking for job interview tips. The reason why some of you have never gotten job, you've been missing a lot of, and you've gone for a lot of interview, and it seems you have never been able to convert some of them into job. On Tuesdays, then personal branding. Yeah, we have corporate branding, there's personal branding, a lot of things on the platform. Also, importation business. Yeah, we do a lot of. Now we now have a lot of people now we've trained on importation business who are now even doing businesses, important things from different parts of the world and selling them. So basically, it's just more empowerment program. So if you want to be part of this, what you need to do is to like my personal page, Abraham Oni. In order to make it very easy for you all, I attached it to this video, not the video so to say. If you look at the content, you know what I mean, the post on this video, the content, you'll see facilitator at Abraham Oni. If you just click on that name, it will take you to my page, and you can like the page so that every Tuesday when the training is ongoing, you can always benefit. So I want to appreciate my Oga, Mr. Martins, for giving me this opportunity to be a blessing to everybody. Somebody say, why are you saying this as though today is a final class? We are done with the material, like you can see. So tomorrow is more of attending to a lot of questions, one. Number two, practical of the first aid. If my first aider friend agreed to be here. And then number three, we'll also take time to discuss about the COVID-19. You know, very, very important. I can't talk about safety and such a time as this, I will not touch that aspect. So that everybody, that we are now custodian of what safety within our immediate environment, what will be our role in such a time like Nigeria need you at such a time as this. So let's get engaged tomorrow, and I'm sure before then, Mr. Martins, the president of ESMI, will also want to talk to us and give us some of the projects that we'll be doing collectively together in our various locations as a good ambassador of the Institute, as a representative of the Institute and custodian of safety, safe environment, safe workplace, and healthy lifestyle. So once again, my name is Abraham Oni. Thank you for the time spent together. I really appreciate you giving me your time. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Catch up with you some other time, especially tomorrow. Thank you. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful day. Bye.